My brothers and sisters, how you doing? My name is Brian Taylor, for those of you who don't know me yet. And I just want to tell you I'm grateful to be here, to be able to share a little bit of my story. As far back as I can remember, my earliest bedtime stories were from the gospel, from the Bible. And with both my parents being avid believers, military personnel, they made sure that we had that foundation, my brother and I, early on. It was around age 7, though, that things took a pivot for the worse. Mom ended up receiving orders to Turkey, Dad to Iceland, and that left my brother and I both stateside here on my mother's side of the family for 14 months, simultaneously while my parents were overseas. And it was then that things changed. My innocence was stolen, my trust was broken, and unfortunately I was assaulted repeatedly by a family member during that time that my parents were away. This literally changed the entire trajectory of my life and led to a series of bad decisions that eventually got me into a position where I ended up being in a street gang in my early teens, and a motorcycle club, or gang if you will, in my young adult years. Needless to say, it was thereafter that I turned my back on God and just really didn't know if I was ever going to make it back. It wasn't until after the death of my son that I really turned back towards God and realized that all along He had been pursuing me. Which brings me to the fact that my favorite verse in the Bible is from Daniel chapter 10, verse 7 through 22, where he talks about an angel appearing to him in a vision. And this angel says to Daniel, you know, from the very moment that you began praying, and I've been contending for you, I've been fighting for you, and here now 21 days later, I am here to answer your prayers. And it just sets so well with me. It reminds me that in all the times that I had felt abandoned or abused, that God was there pursuing me. This also takes you to my favorite poem, Footprints in the Sand. There's an excerpt from it where the author says, you know, Lord, I looked back at the last part of my life and I only saw one set of footprints. And it was then that the Lord whispered to him and said, my precious child, I love you and I would never ever abandon you. When you saw that one set of footprints, it was then that I was carrying you. I love that. It's, you know, in times where we are in worship, one of my very favorite songs that we sing is Future Past. And the reason why is I feel that song embodies my entire life journey. It reminds me that from the very beginning of time, God did, He does now, and He will always have my back.
Hold the reins on the sun and the moon, like horses driven by kings. You cover the mountains, the valleys below, with the breath of your mighty wings. All treasures of wisdom and things to be known are hidden inside of your hands. And in this fortunate turn of events, you asked me to be your friend. You asked me to be your friend. And you are my first, you are my last, you are my future and my past. And you are my first, you are my last, you are my future and my past. The constellations are swimming inside the breath of your desire. Where could I run and where could I hide from your heart's jealous fire. All treasures of wisdom and things to be known are hidden inside of your hand. And in this fortunate turn of events, you ask me to be your friend. You ask me to be your friend. Yeah, 'cause you are my first, you are my last, you are my future and my past. Yes, you are my first, you are my last, you are my future and my past. 'Cause you are the beginning and the end. You are the beginning and the end. 'Cause you are the beginning and the end. Yeah, yeah. You are the beginning and the end. Yeah, yeah. 'Cause you are my first, you are my last, you are my future and my past. Whoa, whoa. And you are my first, you are my last, you are my future and my past. You